podcast.
With your hosts, Jill Valentine and Sebastian Castellanos.
Let's get into the show.
All right, buckle up, because today we're going deep on something you might not expect. Connect 4.
Connect 4, like the kids' game.
Yeah, you heard right. We're diving into this classic, and trust me, it's way more intense than you remember, at least according to GoreTV.
GoreTV. So we're talking about the channel that finds horror in literally everything. What do they have to say about Connect 4?
Oh, they go all in. They break down a regular game like it's a scene from Silent Hill, complete with mind games and strategic traps.
Okay, color me intrigued. I mean, it is a game about connecting 4 little discs. Where does the horror even begin?
Right from the start. They describe that empty Connect 4 grid as this, deceptively calm battleground, you know? It's like the quiet before a storm, filled with this unsettling anticipation.
Oh, I get that. It's like that classic horror movie trope, you know, the calm before the jump scare. But in this case, the jump scare is your opponent making a power play.
Bingo. And just like in a horror movie, GoreTV says every single checker you drop has these ripple effects that you might not even realize until much, much later.
It's kind of like chess in that way, eh? Seems simple on the surface, but actually has this crazy number of possible moves, especially early on. Every placement matters.
For real. And speaking of those early moves, GoreTV says things get real as soon as that first checker hits the board.
Well, yeah, think about it. That first move, it changes everything. No more innocent grid. It's a battleground.
Ooh, battleground. I like that. And you know what's funny? Have you ever noticed how different people approach those first few moves? Like some people are all about claiming the center and others hug those edges.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's where the psychological part of Connect 4 really starts. It's not just about your moves, you know. It's about anticipating what your opponent is going to do, getting inside their head.
I'll get out the tinfoil hats. We're reading minds now.
Well, not quite mind reading, but it is about observation and deduction. Just like in a good mystery novel. Each move your opponent makes gives you a clue about their strategy.
It's giving Sherlock Holmes, but with plastic checkers. So we've got the unsettling calm before the game even starts, and that first move just cranks up the tension. Where does GoreTV take us next on this Connect 4 horror journey?
Well, this is where they make this super interesting comparison to the video game Outlast. You know that feeling in Outlast where you're never quite sure when or where danger's going to pop out. GoreTV says Connect 4 captures that same vulnerability. Always got to be one step ahead.
Yeah, okay. I can see that. I mean, in Outlast, you're dodging patients and hiding in lockers. In
Right.
Connect 4, it's like every empty slot on the grid is a potential trap just waiting to be sprung.
Exactly. And as the board fills up, that pressure just keeps building. It's good. Those hallways in Outlast are closing in. You got fewer and fewer options.
Ugh. And you can practically hear that creepy music starting up as the board gets more crowded. GoreTV even compares it to being stalked in Silent Hill, you know, that dread. But you still got to think strategically.
Right. What's so interesting here is how they highlight that mental strain. Imagine. You think you've got your opponent figured out. You're anticipating their move. But then, bam, they hit you with something you didn't see coming at all.
It's like they reached into your brain, saw your strategy, and then just decided to invent a whole new one.
Yeah, and that's where experience is key. The more you play, the more you start to recognize those patterns. You see those little signs that maybe your opponent is setting a trap.
You know, that reminds me of this one time I was playing my niece, right? And I thought for sure I had her beat. One move away from victory, and then out of nowhere, she pulls off this diagonal win. I was floored.
That's the beauty of it. You're not playing against a board. You're playing against another person with their own way of thinking.
So it's less about memorizing openings like chess and more about, adapting to your opponent's style, right?
Ooh.
Are they cautious, aggressive? Do they go for those crazy diagonal wins?
Absolutely. And that's something GoreTV really emphasizes. They say Connect 4 isn't just about connecting your 4 checkers. It's about figuring out your opponent's strategy and using it against them.
It's psychological warfare with little plastic discs. And speaking of psychological warfare, GoreTV, they really ramp up the tension when they talk about those near misses. When you're this close to victory or defeat, and it feels like the whole game is riding on that next checker.
Oh, they compare it to those jump scares in Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Always on edge.
Oh, 100%. That, oh no, did I miss something? Feeling? Yeah. I'm sure we've all been on both sides of that, delivering the final blow, but then also being the one who's just been destroyed.
For sure. It's a game of inches.
Yeah.
Even the smallest mistake can completely change the outcome. And that brings us to a point GoreTV talks about a lot. The importance of being able to think clearly under pressure.
Ooh, okay, I like where this is going. Tell me more.
Well, think about it. In those really intense Connect 4 moments, you have to think fast. You have to consider your options, the risks, the rewards, and you have to make a decision that could win or lose you the entire game.
And you have to do it all while not even knowing for sure what your opponent's thinking. Gotta trust your gut, read between the lines. So much pressure.
Exactly. And those are skills, right? Staying calm, analyzing, making tough decisions.
Yeah.
That's not just Connect 4, that's life.
So you're saying Connect 4 is basically practice for making those high-stakes decisions that we all face.
In a way, yeah. It's like a tiny version of decision-making in the real world. It reminds us that even in unexpected places, we can learn a lot about ourselves and how we deal with challenges.
So they say, right, the game mimics life. Just never thought they were talking about Connect 4. But speaking of mimicking life, GoreTV takes this even further when they talk about their own wins and losses. So they really commit to this whole horror movie thing, huh? They like close calls in their Connect 4 battles?
Yeah.
Where they barely made it out alive?
Oh, yeah. They talk about this one match that was like a total checkerboard descent into chaos. The board's almost full. Tension's off the charts. And GoreTV, they think they've got this in the bag.
This is it, the final showdown. What happened?
So they make their move, feeling all confident, and then it hits them. They walked right into a trap. Some next-level strategic play disguised as an ordinary move. Game over.
Oof. Talk about getting served. It's like in those horror movies where the character thinks they're safe, they let their guard down for 1 second, and bam, the killer gets them.
Exactly. GoreTV called it a checkerboard battlefield of plans gone wrong. I kind of love that. It just shows you, even if you have it all planned out, you can still lose if you underestimate your opponent. Or the game itself, really.
And hey, maybe a good reminder that celebrating too early, rookie mistake, in Connect 4 and in life. But you know what they say, you learn from your mistakes, right? Especially those strategic butt kickings.
Right. It's those losses that teach you the most.
Yeah.
In Connect 4, there's that classic fake out 4 trap. Ever fall for that one?
You mean where it looks like you can win vertically, but it actually sets up your opponent to win horizontally? Oh, yeah. Been there, done that. Brutal.
Totally. And it sounds like with GoreTV's checkerboard descent, they fell for something like that, just way more advanced. They misread the board and missed the threat.
Which I guess proves, even in a game with pretty simple rules, mastering it is all about those little details, those moves that seem insignificant but actually have huge consequences later on.
100%.
Yeah.
You got to see the patterns, know what your opponent might do, and be ready to change your plan at any moment. Those are skills that apply to way more than just Connect 4.
So basically, GoreTV wants us to see Connect 4 as this battle of minds, a strategic thriller but with plastic pieces. And you know what? They make a pretty good case.
They do.
Yeah.
And even if you're not buying the whole horror analogy, I think there's something here for everyone. Next time you play, pay attention to your opponent.
Yeah, like, are they actually chill? Or can you see the panic in their eyes when you make a good move?
Right. It's like a glimpse into how they think strategically. So next time you sit down for a game, remember, it's not just about dropping those checkers. It's a mental showdown. Make your moves count.
And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder the hidden depths of this deceptively simple game. Until next time, happy strategizing.